Bakerfield. Welcome. Here she is, Miss Carrie Thomas.
So I don't know how much you guys have had to drink, but I'm ready to vomit. I haven't had anything to drink. Just comes with the territory, I guess. So my family likes to, as I say, put the fun in dysfunctional. And we were out for dinner last week, and my uncle sits down at the table and says, "How's your job?" And I said, "Shut up, I hate it." And he says, "You shut up, I hate my job." My grandmother says, "You guys shut up, you are both able-bodied people. My body is falling apart." My father interrupts to say, "Shut up, I hate it when people complain." And then my mother says, "You shut up, I hate it when you interrupt." It was a fabulous dinner. So on the way home from dinner, I'm in the car, we're all in the car. My grandmother turns to my mother and says, "So how old are you going to be at this birthday?" My mother has been her daughter-in-law for over 40 years. I'm thinking to myself, almost 40 years. I'm thinking, this is absurd. This woman has been your daughter-in-law for like almost 40 years. And so my mother just looks at me, rolls her eyes, and says, 54. And I know. So she says 54, and then my grandmother says, because she's egotistical and egomaniacal, "What was I doing at 54? It's all at her. Yes, I was playing the organ and having a whale of a time, and now, suddenly, 20 years later, I don't have the energy I used to." I'm thinking, suddenly? 20 years later? What is that? Suddenly, Carrie realizes she's not in grade 2 anymore. You know, it really kind of reminds me of one of those really good obituaries we read. In his 97th year, after an overdrawn and lengthy illness, Fred died suddenly and unexpectedly in his sleep. So, my dad drives at 2 speeds, foot on the gas, or foot on the brakes. So, we're driving home, foot on the gas, slams into foot on the brakes in front of my house. I get out of the car, say goodbye, I'm walking up the steps, fumbling in my purse for my keys. Here, foot on the gas, followed by foot on the brakes. I know at this point, it's all in response to my mother saying, "Honey, let's just make sure she gets in the house safely." Then I hear foot on the gas, but in reverse. I turn around, I see 100 miles an hour, my dad in reverse, and then foot on the brakes. I made it in the house safely, and it doesn't matter that I live alone, and I'm on antidepressants to stave off the loneliness, but my parents know that I made it in the house safe. So, speaking of depression, I once was so depressed that I couldn't get out of bed to go and flake out on the couch, and I sleep on a fold-out. So I went to the doctor's instead, and the doctor wanted to give me a prescription for antidepressants, and she said, "Carrie, you have to commit to taking these for a year." And I said, "Honey, I don't commit to taking a fucking Flintstone. They're chewy and delicious. I can't commit to a second date." So, when you're depressed, getting up, showering, putting on clothes, it's just entirely too much effort. And I think I have a solution. Drive-through shrink. And this way, you could wear your pajamas, you could stay in the comfort of your car, and you can even have background music if you like. Okay? Pick your station. K-light today. Little light. So it would go something like this. "Yeah, I'd like a diagnosis and some pills, please." "Sure, would you like moderate depression and a side of OCD?" "No thanks, I've already washed my hands 150 times. "Would you like a side order of paranoia instead?" "Why do you want to know?" "Would you like to supersize that to a bipolar?" Pick it out, note. So last year, I went on vacation with the demon seed spawn of Satan. That's what I call my grandmother. But not fondly or to her face. And for most of you, I'm sure vacations mean sun, sand, all-inclusive, too inclusive. In my world, I'm my grandmother's Sherpa. She really just wanted someone to carry her shit. So I get off the plane, I'm like overloaded because I have a hockey bag with wheels and my 50-pound backpack. But then I got my grandmother's 50-pound carry-on. I don't know what the hell she had in it, an anvil? I don't know. And I'm carrying her bag and I'm like going through the airport. It was crazy. And I swear, the only reason why she wanted me to carry her shit was because she didn't want it to wreck her look with her walker. Next week, I'm going to see 50 Cent pimping my grandma's walker. Yo, yo, G to the mom. Bing, bing. So, I was high and tailgating at a Grateful Dead show one day when suddenly, after 20 years, I remembered how to make a grilled cheese sandwich. You take the bottom off one of those aluminum apple juice cans, put it over an open flame, the top becomes your grilling surface. I went to the 7-Eleven, I got some, you know what I needed? I needed butter, bread, cheese, and I got extras because I figured some other people might want some too. And I ended up selling enough to pay for my ticket, and I came home with 50 US. And I would really like to thank, at this moment, Tawny Owl for my brownie troupe in the little butt-fuck town I grew up in. I really want to thank her for helping me survive the munchies at a Dead show. Peace out, Tawny Owl. So, I know this has been done 100 gazillion million times. That's a real number. But I have to do it. You only have to look as far as the Donald to know what I'm talking about. I hope we have no offenders here. Yes, the comb over. Right? You know what I'm talking about. I have to do it. The guy, I cannot fathom waking up beside that man in the morning. He's got to have a bird's nest, and his hair's got to be longer than mine before he wraps it all up in his Trump turban. And what I can't get is all the women, they're beautiful models on his rent to own. I mean, that he marries. Why can't they just be honest, or his kids? Why can't they be honest, just pin him down and tell him to cut the fucking thing off? Just cut it off. So, I got separated a few years ago, and as a rite of passage, my girlfriends took pity on me, and they took me to one of those sex stores. And the only time I went into one, I bought a New Age tape of the Caribbean surf. And so they insisted that I buy this vibrator for the long dry season I was about to embark on as a single woman. So I buckled, I caved, I bought the rabbit. I spent $197.98. It didn't mow my lawn, but it did do every house. So one day I come home from work, shitty day, had a glass of wine, and then I was feeling a little frisky. I'm like, hey, I'll bring out the bad boy. So I go into town, and my hand starts to burn. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? But I can't stop, because I've got bam, bam, bam playing, and I'm going. And then my leg starts burning, but I can't stop, because I'm really in the middle of things. And then I smell burning rubber. It melted. My final question for you is, how the hell do you get that replaced? How do you... Yes, hi, I'd like to return my vibrator. It melted and burnt my cheetah. I'm Carrie Thomas, I love vibrators.